Everybody, video 2 here on taking this guy, and did I even tell you what we're making him do? We're gonna make him look like he's frozen. He's already starting to look like Mr. Frozen guy, maybe. But we want to do more, and we want to do some reveal with some layer mask, so it doesn't look like it looks like he's like changing or becoming frozen. Also, I would like to use and play with some of these overlay methods, right? Overlay, soft light, hard light, this kind of stuff. But it's getting to, I don't want it to interact with the actual color of his skin. I want it to really just interact with the black and white version of this. And the problem is that the overlay method will then affect everything in here. There's a way around this, and that's by grouping this. All right. Plus, I'm going to make a copy of this. You're going to see. You'll just follow what I'm doing, even though you might not fully understand why I'm doing it. But so we want to have a group and then have this hue saturation affect the group, and we'll clip it to the group. So now that we understand that we can have an adjustment layer, and now that we understand that the adjustment layer can be clipped to what's underneath, so it only affects what's underneath, we're kind of going to do something in reverse here, because we could have started by making a group and doing everything inside a group, but that wouldn't have made sense to you. So I'm going to come over here. See, this says this little folder, and if I hover, it says create new group. All right, that's group. Here's group 4. I'm going to drop it below here. Wait, Mr. Ray, what happened? Everything's blue. Yeah, that's because by doing that, the clipping thing turned off because we just changed Photoshop's layout here. And I'm going to put this hands inside the group. All right, that's good. But we want the hue saturation to only affect the hands again. All right, so how do we do that? I could do this with that little button again, where it says clip just what's below. Right, that's that. I can do that too. Or if this properties palette isn't there on the layer itself, if you were doing a group and in a layer that wasn't an adjustment layer, you can still clip. If I hold my Option key or Alt key for PC people, and I'm down near this, I get this little black arrow and white box. See where I am here? And that means it's going to clip to what's below it. So that was 2 ways to do that, right here, or do that little option here. So now it's clipped there, and now when I go to my different modes, you'll see that is more like what I'm looking for. So screen, I tend to think screen looks pretty good. It doesn't look great against this white background, but it is going to look pretty good. Soft light's not bad. Hard light is a bit too strong, but if I picked hard light, and then I could maybe play with the opacity, might kind of work. But it's kind of getting grayed out. I'm going to go for screen. You can pick one that works better for you, and then I'm actually going to make a copy of this, and it will intensify what I've got going on there. And for me, that's going to work out pretty well, because we're going to actually do something else to even that. We're going to use another filter on this in a moment. We'll just do it now, because I'll run through the whole thing for the hands, and then I'll do it again for the head. Like I said, you may not have hands separated from a head. You might be doing it the exact same way. You might not even have a head. You might just be doing someone's hands. Maybe you're having someone's hands free. And once you see what I do, you could play with this, and maybe you want to freeze an object as well. Right? We could put frost and ice on an object. So here I am, hand layer, filter. Filter gallery, and this time I would like under distort, I would like some glass, and I want it to be set to frosted glass. Hey, frost, freeze. Yeah, I know. That's basically what I'm going for. Distortion, I think I want kind of cranked up. Smoothness? No. Smoothness down. I want these to look like little frosty, snowy particles. Does that make sense? But to me it does. And so yeah, kind of a little frost kind of effect here. Scaling, I'm going to bring that down a little bit. And that's not bad. Hit OK to that. And that's going to give kind of a different, that gives us, yeah, it's starting to look kind of like, to me, kind of like snowy frozen frost on this guy. It's awfully light, don't worry. I think you'll see we can make adjustments and I think it'll work out pretty well. Or maybe I could go to like one of these options here, and maybe instead of screen now, maybe hard light. Yeah, hard light is kind of maybe does kind of work well now that I have this other version on top. So I might put hard light for that guy, and maybe turn the opacity down a little bit, lighten it up. And remember, if for ever any reason I don't like my blue anymore, maybe my shade of blue I think is too blue, I can turn the saturation down on my blue, right? So I can crank up the saturation if I want it to be like super glowy, weird frost thing, or maybe, you know, anyway. So the adjustment layer is always there, that can be changed and edited. That is the cool part of the adjustment layer. That's actually kind of the whole point of this project, is to learn about adjustment layers and grouping. Okay, that's the main thing, and to keep in mind layer masks. Layer masks should always be like something that we use in Photoshop because they're so Photoshop because they're so important. All right. Okay, so I need to do that again for my head. So I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna add a group. I'm gonna put that group in between. Oh no, it affected everything. Yeah, this needs to be clipped again. I could do it very easily. Just hit that. Now it is clipped just to the head. And then this guy needs to be. Wait a minute. What happened there? That didn't do it right. Did it? Something seems to have gone wrong. There's this group. Turn it off. Just so, yeah. This guy's here. This group. And it should be affecting. Yeah, that is correct. Oh, duh. The head's not in the group. Now, we're right. All right, excellent. So then make a copy of this layer. This one, before I'll do the same thing, I like to set the hard light with maybe a little opacity turned down. This guy, I'm going to do that filter again, filter gallery, frost, right? Frost distortion, glass, smoothen this down, distortion kind of up, say okay. Now he's nice and frosty. I'm going to turn that to screen. Oh yeah, look at that guy. He is looking frosty. Okay, he's looking frozen. At least to me, he is. All right, so we've got this guy. He's looking frosty. What I would like to do now is put in a background, because I think it's going to affect how I perceive things around it. And then we're going to go in with our, we're going to put a layer mask on the groups, and we're gonna you'll see we're gonna clean this stuff up. I already have a background that I like. By the way, of course, I've already made a whole version of this project so that I could do the big reveal at some point. But yeah, so I went and just found nice frozen frosty scene. I kind of made some adjustments. I kind of darkened it up a little bit because I want him to really stand out. I think it was already in the blue tints, and I think I just kind of pushed the blueness, and that's looking pretty good. And there's actually something I really want to show you. Depending on how you've cut something out, especially if you found something on a white background, do you see how there's this white fringing? It's like a little white halo. See that? That goes around the whole guy, because it was hard for the wand tool to get everything selected. Well, if you don't know, which you probably don't know, because how would you know? It's not something you just instinctively know. Under layer, there's these things called matting. Defringe, remove black matte, remove white matte. So this guy, usually I do this a lot when I have to cut something out, because there's always some leftover stuff. So usually the first place I go is matting, and I just say defringe. Now you can defringe a number of pixels depending on how bad your edge is. Usually 1. You definitely want to keep it low because it's going to actually remove that stuff. I'm just going to say 1, and that pretty much did it, right? It got rid of most of that bad little edge. You see that? Let's just undo that for a minute. Command Z, and that's kind of a giveaway because you have this kind of weird little white glow edge around him, and it's easy to tell that he's been cut out and he's not really in that scene. So I'm going to go back to layer, matting, defringe, And that got rid of most of it, so now it doesn't have that funny little white halo. And then sometimes I'll go here, matting. I'm going to say remove white matte because it's kind of a white edge. And that kind of pushes with that, you don't really care, do you? What it does, it pushes the pixel color around it out. There's still a little bit more, so maybe I'll just run defringe one more time. Matting, defringe, and that was actually worse. Let's undo. Matting, layer, matting, defringe. I'm going to do 2 pixels, and then image, layer, matting, and remove white matte. That's pretty good. Good enough for what I'm showing you. But you could always mess with it more. I could go in there with an eraser, or I could go put a mask, layer mask on them and hide some of that to get rid of it. But to me, that looks clean enough. So